Welcome to this Creative Instinct podcast production made for the Cambridgeshire Recovery Service, one of a series made by people navigating their recovery journey, driven by people who have been there and recognise the way.
So recapping, I first started with Change, Grow, Live when it was CRI, so Crime Reduction Initiative, and they were mostly based at the courts in South London. And I got a DRR, so drug rehabilitation requirement, because I got caught shoplifting and I tested positive for Class A's. And that was really the start of my journey, you know. I didn't want to engage in the order, obviously, because I was still very much in addiction. But I think that was the turning point for me. That was something that really made me want to work on myself and elevate myself. So I started with Southwark and I got a drug rehabilitation requirement. So I had to attend groups and engage with drug treatment. And that was when I first got on a script. Didn't have to go out and commit crime and earn money for drugs. I had solid workers that helped me highlight my transferable skills. I was very passionate and I was always wanting to do things to the T, making sure that everything I gave my all. And they see that in me. So I stabilised on a script and then I started volunteering. Then I got an apprenticeship. I've done multiple recovery coordinator roles. I've been women's lead, prison lead, IOM, so integrated offenders management. So I dealt with a lot of the offenders in Woolwich. So I've had many roles. And then in 2019, I had my little boy. So I was off work for 4 years. And I think this is the reason why I'm going to this point in my life, because this is where I felt most achieved and most elevated, was over the last few years with Huntingdon. So I went back to work in 2022 after I moved up from London, and I got a job here in Huntingdon as a recovery coordinator. And it's something that I've done for years. And then my manager said, you know what, you're really good with people, getting people to do what they need to do and coaching them. Have you thought about doing management? And I had done management before, but it was during COVID. So it was a lot of isolated teams working. So I've never actually managed a mainstream service or hub. And I had my doubts, you know, but I listened to her and I went for it. She moved on to another management role and I got management for Hunts. And then my manager told me about the apprenticeships. So I started an apprenticeship alongside my managing, and I got a 98% distinction for my apprenticeship, which I was over the moon with. And now I'm going to start my level 6 honours in leadership, because obviously I would like to be in a commissioner one day, so I can really manage and solidify stuff into drug treatment services. You know, CGL have changed so much over the years. As I said previously, they were mainly court-based substance misuse services, but now they're a lot more trauma-informed. I really see that they don't matter how complex the client is, like, we don't put barriers up. You know, someone's complex needs could be primarily their mental health. We always look at that person as a whole person. We look at their network, we look at the support, we see where we can link them into other professionals. And I think the changes really happened with CGO over the last 2 to 5 years. We have no barriers. It don't matter what you present with, we will support you. And I think that ambition in me, I've passed on to my workers. I've got a solid team in Huntingdon. They go above and beyond, and I couldn't ask for more from them. And I've upskilled a lot, I've mentored a lot, you know, and it's good to see my work through others, because the passion that I've got for service users will never go away. You know, I'm a manager, but I still go outside and I have a conversation with service users, or I have a laugh in reception with them, you know. And a few of them that were quite hard and you couldn't get through to, now they come in the service and they're smiling, or they see me and we have a bit of a laugh, you know, and they say, you know, you've made Hunts a home, a community. And I think that was always my goal, but I didn't know it. But that's just the person I am, you know. I'm like the glue. I like to keep people together. I like to move things forward. And I think that ambition was recognised at a very early stage in my career, in my treatment even, you know, because I was admin for groups when I was volunteering back with CRI, and, you know, there was not one thing out of place. I had a spreadsheet, you know, I knew where it had to go, the funding and stuff. So it's always my drive and my passion that has moved me forward. But now if you put CGL there, they really elevated that, you know. I would not have got free education anywhere else. They've paid for my apprenticeship. They're going to pay for my level 6 honours as well. And yeah, I've been able to progress with CGLs. As I said, I've gone from service user to a locality manager role now, and I manage hunts. And I went for a new job promotion recently, and I've got deputy services manager now in Luton. I actually cried when I got that role because I never thought I would get there. And I think that was the faith I had in myself. And I still doubted myself. I still had that imposter syndrome. Was I worthy to be a manager? But I see what people get from me being a manager, and that's what keeps me going. I've never been sick in 3 years since I've been here. I come in here day in, day out, and I do it because of the team. I do it for the service users. I think what I can bring to Luton is my passion. You know, we've got to be bold. One of the values. And I'm bold. I'm not scared to take a task on and see it through to the end. I actually like difficult tasks because I love to see the outcome. And in Huntingdon, I've been allowed to do that. I've been allowed to make change. I've been allowed to lead with support from my seniors, you know. So taking to Luton, I'm definitely going to take that team ethos and that community. You're not alone in this. You can do this, and I will take that to Luton and to the managers that I manage. You know, a lot of RCs, recovery coordinators, are in treatment. Sometimes managers don't know how to manage that because there's got to be that fine line between, are they overworked, are they stressed, are they going to go to their old comfort? You know, and I will take that to my team leaders to have that faith in their worker despite their history. Look for the positive, look for them transferable skills. While I've been in Huntingdon, I've managed volunteers, and I won't say a name, but I've got a particular volunteer here now who I was her recovery coordinator when I was recovery coordinating before I'd done management here. And then I supported her to get into detox, and when I'd done the aftercare work with her, and then I got into management. And then she was saying, oh, can I still see you? But she was abstinent, so I linked her with our aftercare Cambridge Recovery Service. So I got her volunteering, an amazing volunteer. She case manages to a T, you know, and she says she's learned a lot from me, and that sort of stuff makes me happy. To know that I helped her to see her potential. I see the good, and we discussed it and we explored it. Even when she didn't have faith in herself, I still had faith in her. We can get clean, but it's sustaining that. And we need the service there to follow that on. Mainstream is there about dealing with the complex, really unpicking it, packing it away safely. But that aftercare is what elevated me. And CRS in Cambridge, you guys have been a dream, especially for me at times as well. And I've checked in with, because I've been struggling as a manager. Just be that community that you are, and just keep that community open for people and embrace them, and they will make that change. We give them the tools. It's then about them making that change. I can mention Phil. CRS know Phil. He came through as a volunteer, and to watch that man now is like he's been doing it for decades. And the compassion and commitment he has for the service is inspiring. And that's just one of my team, you know, because I'm good at getting people to see the good in themselves. You know, I still get imposter syndrome now as a manager. Like, am I really a manager? Do you really trust me? And now I've just had supervision, and my manager said, you will go far in Luton. And I think just that makes me want to come in every day, you know? So my ambition, I like to pass on to others, to give them faith in themselves. We lose that. You know, I lost all faith in myself when I started drugs. But I never lost the ambition because I knew I was shoplifting. I knew who I was going to sell it to, and I knew who I was going to buy drugs off all before 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, I would eat 3 times a day. So I always had ambition to be better. But it's just transferring them skills. We've got to see what you used to be good at with clients. You know, did you like people when you was growing up? Was you good at technology? And find them something to get their teeth in, because we mourn drugs. It's like a loss. And if we don't get something that gives us that same good feeling, we're never going to get fulfillment. I get fulfillment every day. As I said, I've never gone sick. I walk into this service and I'm like, bring it on. What are we going to do today, team? And I reflect with them. I email them how proud I am of them, because I am. And I'm gutted to leave. But this is my progression, you know, my next step towards that commissioning role, you know. And as I said, I'm excited about learning my level 6. It's 2.5 years degree. But I'm not bothered. I'll smash it. I'll smash Luton and I'll smash whatever I do, because I have that faith in myself. I know what I've achieved, and that just keeps me going forward. It gives me great joy to help others reach their potential, you know. I doubted myself for years once I got clean. We have that, it's inbuilt in us. We're told by society that once an addict, always an addict. And once I heard that once by someone, I do everything now to show that addiction and recovery, you can achieve recovery. And I've come across a lot of judgmental professionals, social care, probation, police, you know. My partner, my husband, he's quite a big boy, and when we was on drugs, one of the coppers said that he was and these was his words, he was the fattest junkie he's ever seen. And that really upset us, because he labelled us before he even knew us. And that's what keeps me going, showing others that we're not writ off. You can achieve so much. I'm 43 and I've just got a distinction. Managed 2.5 years in the mainstream, and I'm moving up now to deputy service managers, about to start at honours. You can achieve anything if you want recovery, and you've got to want it. People come in and say they want it, but do you really want it? Once we know we can live without that substance, that's where the self-confidence comes in, and that's what I pass to my team, who pass to service users. We get people through treatment, people sustain recovery, people volunteer after. So it's just making sure that every level they're supported, because I was, and look where I am now. What are my hopes for Huntingdon when I leave? That they maintain the good work that they do, that they maintain that community ethos, that they continue to think outside the box, that they stay strong together, and believe in our service users. I know some clients can be difficult, and sometimes I can see in staff's face, you know, they're stressed because if they internalise client stuff. But just keep that passion. That's what I would like to see. When people come to us, they're genuinely probably at their lowest. And I love to see people build up and make that change. I would say that 80% of my workforce used to volunteer for the service, and I hired them, maybe when others wouldn't because of experience. But now the ones that I've hired are probably the most experienced, you know. So they're bringing their love and passion to build a solid foundation, a solid treatment. And that's what they need to keep, is to have faith in themselves, but also to make sure that they're committed as a community still, and no barriers through that door. It don't matter how complex you are, what criminal record history you've got, whether you're gambling, drinking or taking drugs, whether you're poly-drug using and you're mashing it up and having drugs and alcohol. We've got a plan, we've got a pathway. So I just say to anyone, just make that step and come through the door and let us do the rest. Oh God, it's so surreal. It's surreal to be leaving Hunts, don't get me wrong. And I've had second thoughts, but this is not about others. This is about me and where I'm at, you know. And I'm going to go to a new service and pass on all the passion and love and commitment that I've got to my team leaders, and they will be able to support their workers, because it's about retaining staff, supporting staff, you know, having open channel communication, being transparent. That's what I appreciated, and that's what I will take forward. You know, it's not about sugarcoating. We're adults, we're humans, and it's not about what you're going to do to my managers, it's about what we're going to do. They're not on their own, I'm there, and I have a lot to give, a lot of information, a lot of experience, and I will just take my experience and just, like, it's like watering the flowers and watching them grow, and that's what I will do in Luton, just like I've done in Hunt. Oh, yeah, don't ever start crying.
Your story can help others, and we'd love to hear it. Wherever you've been, wherever you are, how you got there, whatever, it's up to you.